Woo, I'm going to start again. On YouTube, to Adventure Ask. First off, thanks for all the helpful video. My wife and I have learned a lot from you two while researching our upcoming trip. We are going to be traveling for 1 year all over New Zealand starting in late February. Do you recommend buying privately through a Facebook group, that's talking about the car, or buying through a company that guarantees buyback? We are really needing something that will last us the whole year and don't want to be taken advantage of. Thanks again. So this video is going to be about the pros and cons of buying a used car on Facebook or buying a used car through a buyback company. Laura, do you want to get started with Facebook group?
Okay, yeah. So with Facebook, the pros of buying from a car or camper van Facebook group is that it's usually a lot cheaper than getting from a buyback company. You can usually negotiate prices with people, and you are usually catching people selling their vehicles toward the end of their trip, where they're usually, you know, they do want to get rid of their car pretty quickly, so they might, you know, put it on for a cheaper price. So that's one of the benefits of on using Facebook to buy a car. You can also get recommendations and stories from fellow travelers like you, because it usually is travelers selling you the car. So you can get a few advice from those guys, and also they can, you know, give advice on the car and, you know, any problems that they might have had, tell you how to fix them, that sort of thing. They're also a lot easier to meet, because usually if you're on a Facebook group, you would find cars that are in the area around you, and that could be in any city really. And also they're not restrained by shop hours or anything. Usually the people can meet you on an evening or on a morning, afternoon. You can usually negotiate a time easy enough for people. And also you do get a lot of choice. We know, especially on our Facebook buy and sell for cars, that we actually have a group for that, which we'll put in the description below after this video, is that there is a lot of choice. Yeah, there's usually like camper vans, cars have been changed into camper vans, all sorts of things. So you do get a lot of choice on there. And as I've already mentioned, you can negotiate, so you can get yourself a fair deal. Do you want to go over the pros of buybacks?
Yes, so obviously buyback companies offer you a great peace of mind, right? When you are buying a car from a buyback company, you know that, well, they check the car, they usually a little bit of a warranty with it. You know that they will be able to actually buy it back from you because you wrote and drafted the contract about that. So that's kind of like a big peace of mind. It's all that worry about that just completely taken off, which is quite cool. The other pros is that they have shop hours, so you know exactly where and when you can find those people. You know, there is no like messing around and trying to organize times to meet and those kind of things. I mentioned that a little bit before, but I'm going to say it again. There is often a mechanical warranty with the vehicle that you're going to get from a buyback company. That is super handy, just because, well, you get this full peace of mind right here. You don't waste any time. You arrive over there, you know, you go to the shop. Once you arrive at the shop, you know, you pick the car that you want. The paperwork is already pre-ready for you. There is really like almost nothing for you to do. It's like picking up something off the shelf, so it's quite handy, and obviously they tend to be slightly bit more reliable than what you will find on Facebook groups. Now that leads me to talk about the cons, and I'm going to talk about the cons of the Facebook group, and Laura will wrap up with talking about the cons of the buyback schemes. So the Facebook group cons is the main one, and the one that kind of triggers me the most, is the fact that there's so many time wasters on Facebook. So often you're gonna contact someone and then, you know, they're not gonna show up for the meeting, or they're gonna have changed their mind, change the price. They're gonna be late at the meeting. You're gonna agree on a price and you're gonna go to pick up the money, and then they're gonna want some more. It's just there's so much messing around with Facebook group in that sense. Sometimes it gets really annoying. So I will definitely say that it's my personal biggest cons against Facebook group. But if you do have a little bit of spare time and have more patience than I do, Facebook group can be a really good option for you. Obviously, the other cons for Facebook is that there is a bit of a risk, right? The seller, well, he's going to say whatever he can to sell his car and leave to go back to his own country. So you're not necessarily going to get the best information all the time. And yeah, you know, like the car is probably hasn't been like thoroughly checked before sale. Just those kind of things. So it's quite important to do a lot of checks when you get a car from a Facebook group. And lastly, it's the unreliability, but you know, I already covered that before, so I'm not going to extend too much about that. Now, what are the cons of buybacks, Laura?
All right, so the first con is that buybacks tend to be a lot more expensive than what you find on Facebook groups. They usually have, you know, a set price for how much that car will be for the length of time that you agree with the buyback company. And yeah, there's usually not room to negotiate whatsoever. That's the price and that's what it's going to be. And another con is that you obviously have to make your way to their rental depot or their shop to go and see the car. And, you know, there's not like a huge amount of these buyback companies around New Zealand. I mean, there's some mainly in Auckland, in Tauranga, Christchurch. You will have to make your way to like those big main cities of New Zealand, which, you know, isn't always great if you're not actually based there at the time when you're looking for cars. So yeah, that's pretty much all the cons I can think of for buybacks.
Yeah. So basically both options are kind of viable when you want to travel around New Zealand, especially for 1 year because you have the time. But it looks like, you know, from your question is that you are very adamant you want something that lasts you for the whole year and you don't want to be taken advantage of. Well, obviously it will be more expensive to use a buyback company because obviously they're going to sell it to you for a certain price, but they're going to buy it for like much cheaper from you. But you have this entire peace of mind. And I feel like, you know, you didn't mention in your question, a trip into adventure, that your main focus was price. So if you do have a little bit of room for cash, and especially for a whole year, I mean, you know, if you consider, even if you lose like, let's say $1,000 or $2,000, even $4,000 for like an entire year, if you consider the car rental costs or the mechanical costs and all of that, it can add up so quickly. So I will, in your situation, really consider a buyback.
Yeah, I
agree.
But
that's our take on it, right? We do have plenty of articles that cover these topics, and we're going to put them in the description below for sure, just so you'll be able to actually do some further research on what we told you and have a bit more thorough reads, because obviously we just scratched the surface right here. And yeah, tell us if that answered your question. Click like if it did, and obviously any extra questions, put them in the comments below.